Okay, so it is May 21st or 22nd, and we are meeting for our live meditation class. And we just met yesterday, so I'm still feeling the reverberations of that meeting. So we'll start with our centering and grounding. I just have a few words to say about what's been resonating with me since yesterday, and then we'll do a meditation together. And yeah, I'll see how I feel getting going, and we may have a shorter meeting today. We'll see. I've had a weird kind of neurological migraine going on today, so not a lot of pain, but it's just feeling kind of weird. So we'll see how, if I start talking weird sentences or something, we'll cut it. We'll make it a little shorter today. So let's start with centering. And feel the support of the earth underneath us. So feeling our connection to the earth. Notice the qualities that the earth offers into our body and in being. The stillness, the stability, the peace. And notice how that permeates through your whole body. So next month we'll be focusing a lot more on our body, how our body's not isolated into our own personal body, but how we're connected with the cosmic body, including the earth. And you can start to feel this as you open into the earth right now. So the back of your neck opens, your ears draw over your shoulders, and all this, actually this interconnection with the earth helps you to drop into your own body and being. And yesterday we noticed how the yang energy pulls us outwards to the surface of our skin, to the surface of our mental body and our minds. And this really helps us to draw back into our center. This is part of connecting with our earth energy. And then feel your breath coming into your lower belly. Then just notice how the phrases of our mantra land for you today. Remembering that I am intrinsically good without exception, and that I've been given this precious opportunity of my unique life. I find ways to engage in daily practice in my everyday life. And I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth. That vastness, stillness, silence, and peace and stability enters into my body and being. Remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive, I enter into relationships as part of my everyday life. And then just acknowledging that our own personal bodies and our interpersonal bodies are dependent on the ancestors. We acknowledge the ancestors of our land. And for me, it's the Songhees and Esquimalt nations of the Coast Salish people. I also bow to the lineage of teachers from the many traditions that light our way. And also just to acknowledge each one of you for taking the time to commit to your practice today and to commit to our community, for your presence here in our community, whether you're joining us here live in our live meditation or later in recording. And if so, we give thanks for the gift of the life force energy and chi that animates our bodies and beings. That too comes from our ancestors. When you feel ready, you can transition to our circle here. So yesterday we met for our monthly live indulgence workshop, and I really received a lot from our time together yesterday, and I will post the recordings from that. And if you haven't had a chance to do that class, I would encourage you to go back and do it. A few things really stood out to me from the experience of the teachings, teaching the class, and then also from our collective response to the class. And I just wanted to touch on those. In relation to our theme this month, which is open acceptance. And they are, I'm trying to do this in a kind of a summarized way. One is the yin and yang energy. That would be the kind of overall thing. And the other is the way that the yang energy moves out to the surface. And the other is the way that the yin energy animates from underneath. And then the other thing is, so maybe there's three things. The other thing is that that when we are in those spaces of yin, that it can be counterintuitive to culturally. We talk about this a lot, actually, the way it can be counterintuitive culturally, and that we kind of grasp to be out in that yang space again. So let's just kind of break all those things down. So particularly right now here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're experiencing spring going into summer, where we're experiencing life at its most yang in nature. So the days are super long, and you know, the trees, the leaves are out, so they're at the surface of their branches, and so everything is coming to its yang most expression on the surface. And we too can experience this too, where we might feel like our emotions are closer to the surface. And then also we experience it in our mind too, where our mind is really kind of racing as well too. You might feel more caught up in that kind of monkey mind at this time of year. Now, this is not something that we're really strangers to either, because we live in a culture that where yang expression sits really close to the surface, and we have a lot to support that too, right? We tend to run on empty, so there's not usually a lot of yin supporting the yang expression. So we tend to go, and that yang expression is just continuous. We continually go, and we see this with workaholism and the way that we have substances to support us in going, and then the way that we don't actually know how to rest anymore. So we have these kind of epidemics of insomnia where we can't rest anymore. So that's that yang excess that sits on the surface. So those are some things that I've been reflecting on personally since yesterday's yin class, because those things, when I went back and reflected on them, those things call us back into balance. They call us to balance and rebalance. This kind of yang excess on the surface, they call us back into the yin. Because what happens then is that our insides get depleted, and there's a kind of need to come back and balance the yin. So there's always going to be excess and deficiency, and it's you know, that even that yin yang symbol has a lot of movement in it, and there's never all one yang or all one yin, but we're always going to be moving between the two. It's never always one. So yeah, I was just really thinking about how that excess energy on the surface depletes the reserves in the internal body, and just how that insight really came to the forefront. And this, I think, really creates an inner calling that calls us back inward. That I think, at least for myself, I felt it really strongly yesterday in our class. And the earth element calls us to do that when we connect with the earth in that way. It'll call us back home for that inner nourishing, that inner compassion that will ask us to treat ourselves with kindness. And I think that, we saw this yesterday too, even not to call you out, Michelle, but I think that Michelle's response to the class yesterday was really quite beautiful, because, she wasn't feeling well and she left the class, which was the most appropriate response to the class, right? It was to take care of herself, to be her own best mother, to nourish and nurture herself and treat herself compassionately. Like, the right response was not to finish the class, but to care for herself in the best way possible. So that was really quite brilliant. The other thing that I wanted to say in response to the class which was something that was else that really came up through the discussion in the class in the transitional seasons, is this sense of the confusion of the body. And I think this can be this also can happen when we are hanging out in the yin space too. So it may not even be that you've got a yang excess going on, but this happens in the more shadowy realms, right? So you've heeded that inner call. You're coming inwards. You're caring for yourself. You're recognizing that there's something out of balance, and you're in those shadowy realms. So we might call it shadow work. You're in the myth of the phoenix, you're in the ashes, right? And in yin terms too, you're in the darkness, right? Yin is very dark as well. And this can be a very uncomfortable time, because in terms of tuning into the body and being met with confusion, oftentimes when we say, okay, so I'm going to come to my mat and I'm going to tune into my body, or it doesn't even need to be on the mat, right? I'm going to tune into my body. I'm going to see what my body needs. And I tune into my body and I'm met with confusion. Well, that doesn't feel very clear, right? But there can be times in our lives where it can go on for some time, where we are in this kind of shadowy land of confusion, or being in the ashes, or being in the darkness, and we don't really know what's going on. And quite honestly, when we're in those spaces, there's just a waiting out. Those yin spaces are the holding spaces. They're like the caves. And it's not that nothing's happening here, although it feels like there's nothing happening here. There's a lot going on. It is a time of inner nourishment. It's that time of gathering in. It's that time where the energy reserves are being buoyed up again. It's just that in terms of the way that our culture values things, there's no outward expression. So we can't say that we're doing anything, right? So I've just been reflecting on that aspect of it recently too, since yesterday's talk as well, that I just was really struck by that in transition there is that sort of dark night of the soul where you don't really know what's going on, and you can very much be in that dark yin space of not knowing. And in terms of our theme this month, the open acceptance, there can be this kind of tenderness and waiting around it, and openness and acceptance that is part of it too. And from the perspective of yin, the darkness, the holding, the waiting, those are all very yin qualities. And although it might not seem like a lot's happening. This is the way that yin fuels yang, and it takes those times of inward introspection, retreat, withdrawal for yang to be able to have its expression. So I just wanted to to reflect on that as well, to make that clear too. And especially when there is so much outward expression and things come so close to the surface, and emotions may be close to the surface with seasonal transitions right now too, that you may be feeling that inner calling, and it might feel just a little counterintuitive, especially if you're in the season that we're in the northern hemisphere, where the sun's out so long and the days are so long and everybody's out partying and beach parties and barbecues and everything like that, and you're getting this sort of inward calling to turn inwards and nurture. It might feel a little counterintuitive, like at least where Michelle is, there's everything's turning inwards. So she can feel completely fine cozying up and wrapping herself in a blanket. And yeah, I think those are the main things that I wanted to say. And just to also to know that we have so many ways to honor the yin in our lives, that when there's that kind of excess of yang that we're balancing, that it doesn't have to just be yin yoga, or because many of you spoke yesterday too, which I'm so glad you did too, about how it can be challenging to be in the yin yoga practice, to be with those long 5-minute holds when the emotions are close to the surface, or when the mind's really active. So just to say that, there are so many ways to heed that inner call and to turn inwards and to nourish the yin from the inside. And that it doesn't even, although we have this big toolbox here with yoga and meditation and all the various breath techniques that we have as well, that there are so many things that nourish yin, including, and I know we have yoga nidra too, but even things like taking a nap or sitting outside. Like, I love how Kate talks about just sitting on her porch and watching the world pass her by. That's very yin, taking the time in stillness and quiet to not be doing anything productive is valuable, and not something that gets a lot of value placed on it. Honestly, you all need to come and move to Vancouver Island, because a lot of people do that here. You see it a lot here. But I don't remember seeing it a lot when I lived in Toronto. I remember going down to the beach there and lying on the ground, and people would actually stop to ask if you were okay there, if you did that. So it's kind of cultural, but things like going and sitting by large bodies of water, like that's a yin space, can be very nurturing and healing. Or lying in water, at this time of year, swimming is very useful, or taking a bath, or even soaking your feet in a foot soak, things like that, all very useful. So you can reflect on how you want to nourish the yin. And it doesn't if things are just so activated for you, it doesn't have to be a yoga class. That would be my daughter home. So that's all I wanted to say. Things that really were resonating and reverberating for me. I just thought our time together yesterday was magical. And I'll hand it over to you guys and see if there's anything that stood out to you, or that you wanted to say in response to that.
I don't have a whole lot to add, but the only thing that really stood out to me, and something that you say in the Yoga Nidra audio recordings that like has just always stuck with me is, well, you talked about the confusion in our bodies and kind of like tuning inwards, and then we're like, well, I don't really know, I don't really know what's going on. And in the Yoga Nidra recordings, you say, like, if nothing comes up for you, be with the sweetness of not knowing, or something like that. And so I kind of think of that, well, I'll just be with this sweetness of not knowing, what's going on. And yeah, that's all I really have to add right now. But that's just something that has really just hit me when I listened to those Yoga Nidras, and it just reminded me of this time of confusion. Sometimes we don't know, and maybe it's okay sometimes to not know. So.
Yeah, I think so. I find that in my own experience, it's usually a source of discomfort, not knowing. But I love that it can be sweet for you. I guess it depends on the thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes not knowing can be sweet. Sometimes I want to find more than often I want to find resolution.
Yeah. I want to know all the things. I want to know what to do about the thing. Yeah. The thing that stands out for me is this talk about the dark spaces. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I talked about it with the new moon. And the dark space, it can be uncomfortable because you don't know, and the urge can be just to skip it and go straight into the light bit and where you're going and that kind of thing, that forward momentum of doing. And the dark space, it's such a fertile ground, and sometimes you just do have to wait it out.
Yeah, I like how you say it's fertile ground, because it literally is. It's that space in the earth where things are gestating, and the roots are going down and out, and it takes time, and we don't know. We actually don't know what's growing then.
Right.
We don't know what the yang expression is going to be yet.
Michelle, I just have to say, what you just said, that just hit me so hard. That is exactly what I needed to hear today, after just some things I've been going through, and just having some of that darkness. I just love what you just said. It's gonna stick with me.
Thanks, Kate. I say it because it comes from a place of experience. It's something I'm going through now. I don't know if happy is the right word. Happy that it resonated with you. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's life stuff, and it's just the season as well. I'm naturally going to be drawn to thinking about more underground kind of quiet stuff. Just naturally where I'm at.
Yeah, it almost feels like, not even just in our bodies, but at least in my life, and I don't know if I'm interpreting what Michelle said maybe the wrong way, and you can correct me, but at least in my life, it's like I feel the darkness of kind of this, like, of nothing, kind of like of stillness, of uncertainty, but then I also feel a lot of transition too. It's almost like there's a confusion. I feel a lot of shifts, but I also feel a lot of undoing, of nothing going on, but also lots of transition. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know, in my life, I kind of feel that the uncertainty, but then this transition, things up in the air, things kind of moving around, and it's really weird. It's weird.
I think it really can be, because lately I've been very, I don't know if restless is the word for it. It's just something going on that, you know, emotions are up in my, you know, they're very on the surface, and it's like I'm not really, like, I don't know, it's just like I'm not really feeling anything right now. So it's this transitional season that you just want to, like, I don't know, just turn inward. I mean, everything, it just seems to be like too much. And it is like a confusion in your body. You just don't know what feels right anymore. I mean, in our house, we're going through a little bit of a transition. My youngest is moving out soon. He's going away, but I mean, I think maybe part of it is that, but it's also like, I don't know, it's just like the shifts that are going on in my life. It just feels edgy.
So, you know what I find so interesting about this is that none of you are strangers to being able to ground and find your center, and yet each one of us are experiencing this being pulled up and out to the edges in our mental and emotional bodies. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Sometimes it's hard being in that space, but
In my experience, it's not comfortable.
No. It's very edgy. I mean, it's like, you know, you're pulled in so many different directions. You just don't know what to do. You know, like where you are anymore, or what to do anymore. But it's comfortable being able to talk. I mean, it's good being able to talk about it, and to, you know, we're all on the same path, more or less, and we're all, you know, we all interconnected here, and we all understand each other, and it's comfortable to be able to talk about this kind of stuff.
So one thing that's been interesting to me lately is one of the places where I often find direction and comfort when I go to bed at night. I go to bed at night recently, and I have the same dreams every night right now. And they're like these anxiety dreams that carry me into this really anxious place. They lead me back into the most anxious periods of my life right now. So that I find very interesting, uncomfortable, and an outward expression, an inward expression. I don't know. Expression of what we're talking about, though, too.
Those dreams, I find my dreams will bring everything up.
Yeah, there's no hiding in that space.
It's whatever's that you think is down in the depths. It comes up. It's really quite interesting.
Okay, so there's Delia. How about we practice? And I'm going to suggest we do a short practice, like a nidra nap, just to honor my headspace right now today. So we do a shorter practice, and yeah, that would help me a lot today, because I found it hard this morning to hold my focus through a long practice. So let's try that, and I'll get you to rest back. Welcome, Delia.
Thank you.
Delia.
So remember to choose a position that is going to be most comfortable for you. So we talked about in our talk today about reflecting on the ways that we can gather yin in our daily lives, and the nap is definitely one of the ways that we can gather yin. Gathering yin helps to temper the heat from the mind, so it brings coolness to the mind. And even taking time to do a short practice like this is one of the ways that we can avoid rushing, and take moments in your day to let go and just experience stillness, rest, and relaxation, to practice turning inward with a very compassionate inner dialogue that allows you to balance and rebalance, especially that yang energy that flows outwards to the surface of the body. And through this practice, we are able to regenerate the qi on the inside of our body that needs replenishing. So as you experience this practice, or just take note at the beginning of this practice, how your energy feels at the deepest layers of your body and the storage levels. And then we'll check in again at the end. And as we begin to practice this, know that discomfort is a wonderful thing that you can experience during the practice. It can be a very beautiful way to practice the compassionate Earth Mother archetype, that when you feel discomfort, it can be a beautiful opportunity to offer yourself some compassion, to adjust your position, to take care of yourself. So when you do feel discomfort, know that you can adjust your position to offer yourself some care. And so to invite it in and offer yourself that sense of balance and rebalancing through the practice. And the same thing with distractions, to allow it to be another opportunity to tend to yourself, to come back to the practice. And if you should feel overwhelmed at any time, to know that you can step away, that can be a beautiful act of self-care as well. So allow my words to wash over you. Don't worry if you miss any of them. This isn't about doing it right or making sure you get everything or doing well in school. If you're not resonating with any of the chosen words, remember the wisdom of your own experience is the most important thing. So feel the support of the earth underneath you. And allow your body to let go more and more into the pull of gravity. And just sense into the points of your body that are touching the earth underneath you. Then feel your way from the support of the earth underneath you through from the back of your body to the front of your body. And become aware of the space all around you. So in a very real sense, you are inhabiting a yin space right now. There's space at the front of your body. There's space to the left side of your body. There's space to the right side of your body, and there's space all around you. Feel the touch of air against your skin. Notice the temperature of the air. And also feel the texture of your clothes or blankets against your skin. Notice where they meet your skin. Feel your breath at your nostrils. Allow your breath to flow down through your nasal passageways into the yin spaces of your hollow throat. Feel your jaws unhinge and feel the yin space of your soft mouth. And allow your tongue to float in your mouth. Notice how your ears are picking up sounds in the space in which you're inhabiting. Allow your eyeballs to sink back and down. And notice how you've closed off that external yang vision and that you are cultivating an inner vision here. So we're going to circulate your awareness through the yin space of your body now, the deepest layers of the inner part of your energy body. So this is like a relaxing energy massage as you open your awareness to the different parts of your body, opening up the free flow of energy in your body. And begin by feeling your whole body, the way that energy is flowing through your body, the way that your whole body is being breathed. Notice your head and your face. Allow your face to soften. Become aware of your lips, your nose, your eyes, your forehead, your temples, your ears, and your chin. And then notice your whole face and your whole head. Allow your jaws to unhinge, your tongue to float in your mouth, the hollow of your throat, the front of your neck, the back of your neck, the sides of your neck, your whole neck. Notice your right shoulder, your left shoulder, and then sense and feel your neck and shoulders. Notice your right shoulder, your right upper arm, right elbow, right forearm, right wrist, palm of the right hand, right thumb, right index finger, right middle finger, right fourth finger, right pinky finger, tip of the right thumb, tip of the right index finger, tip of the right middle finger, tip of the right ring finger, tip of the right little finger, the whole right hand, right wrist, right forearm, right elbow, right upper arm, right shoulder, whole right arm resting heavy on the ground. Notice the left shoulder, the left upper arm, left elbow, left forearm, left wrist, palm of the left hand, left thumb, left index finger, left middle finger, left ring finger, left pinky finger, tip of the left thumb, tip of the right index finger, tip of the left middle finger, tip of the left ring finger, tip of the left little finger, whole left hand, left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, left upper arm, left shoulder, whole left arm resting heavy on the ground. Notice your head, your face, your neck, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, your right arm, your left arm, heavy and sinking into the ground. Notice your chest, your upper back, your ribs, your mid-back, your belly, and your lower back, your whole torso softening, resting, letting go down and into the earth. Notice your right hip, your right upper leg, right knee, right lower leg, right ankle, right foot, right big toe, right second toe, right middle toe, right fourth toe, right little toe, tip of the right big toe, tip of the right second toe, tip of the right middle toe, tip of the right fourth toe, tip of the right little toe, whole right foot, right ankle, right lower leg, right upper leg, right hip, whole right leg heavy on the ground. Notice your left hip, your upper leg, left knee, lower leg, left ankle, left foot, left big toe, left second toe, left middle toe, left fourth toe, left little toe, tip of the left big toe, tip of the left second toe, tip of the left middle toe, tip of the left fourth toe, tip of the left little toe, whole left foot, left ankle, left lower leg, left upper leg, left hip, whole left leg, both legs resting heavy on the ground, whole lower body heavy, relaxing, softening into the earth. And then feel the body, the whole body, resting heavy on the ground. Notice your awareness letting go into itself, unrestricted by time and space. There's nothing to do, nothing to accomplish, nothing left incomplete, nothing you need to get, nothing you need to know, nowhere you need to be. So slowly, gently, and easily begin to transition from this place of conscious rest. Gradually open and close your eyes a few times. Observe and sense this deep energy coming from the stores within your body. And acknowledge yourself for taking this time for rest, relaxation, and inward attention. For giving yourself time to take a rest, for giving your mind a rest. So taking this time benefits your own personal body in a deep way, but also the interpersonal body, so it benefits everybody in your life. And as you start to go out into the rest of your evening or day, just notice how taking this time in the yin space and the coolness away from the external energy benefits you and your loved ones through the rest of your day, your evening, and even into your sleeping night. Okay, so that was a short yoga nidra. And just open up the lines now if any of you want to speak about your experience with that or have any comments. We have some time to dedicate to that now. When I do those shorter practices, it reminds me of something a teacher used to say. Some of you probably know this teacher. She's an author. She does. She's a Hay House author. She's written a ton of books. Her name's Denise Lynn, and she often says, "It doesn't have to take a long time to get massive results." And I often think about her saying that the way she says it whenever we do. I do short practices, and even things like, in yin yoga, 5 minutes at a time I can experience that dropping inward just 5 minutes at a time.
Surprising, like in those 20 minutes of yoga nidra, how much you can relax.
Mm-hmm.
And how clear-headed. I mean, I like to do it when I come home, so those 20, 25 minutes, It's just you feel so. It's like you take a 2-hour nap. Literally, it's just you feel so refreshed, so mentally alert. So it's that chance to go inward and really feel, rested.
It's almost like taking an energy shower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like I let go of all that of my whole day, and all of a sudden I just feel more myself.
It's funny, I was thinking earlier, I used to be so resistant to taking naps.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even as a child. I remember being in preschool and they'd make you lie down for your nap and you're lying there thinking, I don't want a nap. I want to be doing something all the day. We've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But it's just so recharging and nourishing. And, yeah.
I noticed when I lay down, I had this profound neck and both shoulders pain. And after the yoga nidra, it is gone. And it's just incredible. So
That's weird. Wild.
Yeah, it is wild. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm happy too. Yeah.
Tim always says, praise the baby Jesus, so we'll praise the baby yoga nidra. Whenever he drops Trinity off anywhere, poor thing. Jesus loves you, Trinity.
Does she make him drop her off down the block from where she's supposed to
It's funny.
So that's like one of those moments, right? It's like, why did that happen, right? Like, why is your neck and why do your shoulders and your why did it go away? Weird.
Mm-hmm.
A yoga nidra miracle.
Yeah.
And I was reading your description of the latest yoga nidra nap. And all the things you can do. It was like, is there anything it can't do?
Well, so I know it sounded a bit like out of control, but that actually comes from research there's a great book called Take a Nap, Change Your Life. And it actually and the woman that wrote it is actually a Harvard doctor, researcher and stuff. And it actually comes from all her research.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a great little book. Like if you're not a believer in naps, then that book would change your mind. That book, Hannah Gilly recommended that book to me, or I don't know. Anyway, she was a big believer in that book. So somehow she got me onto that book. And I, like you, Michelle, was not a big believer in naps. I think I sort of felt that they would interrupt nighttime sleep or what have you. I don't know what my big thing was against them. But so I read it a number of years ago now. And when I read it, it was back, ironically, I'm having migraine symptoms today, but when I read it, it was back when the migraine symptoms were much more persistent and much worse. But sleeping is very healing for the brain, one of the most healing things you can do for the brain. Mm-hmm. So when I read the book, I was like, hot damn, why aren't I sleeping every day in the middle of the day? This is ridiculous. And so I just made that a part of my healing routine to take a nap every day. And I would say that was probably the thing because what I was doing was I was going to the acupuncturist, and guess what they do? They put the needles in you and they tell you to go to sleep. And I was like, well, this is an expensive nap, right?
Yes.
So I was like, I mean, ultimately, when they put the needles in you, you're getting you're getting an enhanced nap, really, because you're getting your energy flow and everything. But I was like, a lot of this I could get at home, at least the nap portion of it. So I started napping every day at home. And I would say that was a huge, 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 huge part of the turnaround in terms of the healing. But yeah, with the yoga nidra naps, I think a lot of you are experiencing now too. You're just taking that 20 minutes when you make that transition at home. You're also getting that energy flow. Like there's a big difference between lying down for a nap and putting on the yoga nidra and doing that, because there's a big difference in the feeling of refreshment and mental clarity at the end of it, isn't there, between that and a nap?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
After a nap, it takes a little while for me to get up and going again. But with the yoga nidra, it's like, well, I'm up and all sparkly, and let's go do stuff. The feeling is much, much different.
And I think it has to do with, I think it is very much like an acupuncture treatment, because we do trace the energy through the body. So there is that moving of the energy through the body. And I really would like to figure, I've got that one. There has to be a happy medium. We've got the one where we trace through all the energy lines, but it's so long. So I need to find a way to trace the energy lines through the body. It's not quite as long, that really hits on those energy channels. I mean, I guess trusting, yoga nidra moves the energy through the body. Anyway, I don't know. I want to do a shortened version of the energy channels. Yeah. But you still feel refreshed after that one. And it's not particularly the energy channels.
I feel refreshed after most of them. I mean, it's just, it's the mental clarity too, because if I take a nap, I wake up and you feel groggy for such a long time. It's such a long time. And I can't do a yoga nidra and go to bed because I feel so energized. I feel like I can go, because it's just, it feels that's how it feels to me. I mean, I know some people do it before they go to bed, but I can't seem to do that.
I can't either. It has to be has to be before dinner and I have more things to do. Yeah.
For me, if I do it even now is perfect. Like I can go to bed at the right time and go to sleep. But if I do it any later, it's not going to happen. I'm too energized.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Because sometimes if I'm really tired, you think, oh, if I do it before bed, and it'll set me up for good sleep.
I've done it a couple of times. I can't sleep. Then I lay there for hours trying to fall asleep.
I guess it depends on your overall energy, though, because I know a lot of people use it as a lot of people that experience insomnia use it as a tool to get to sleep every night.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, what you said about like how your energy is when you go to the yoga nidra, because when you guys were talking, I was thinking about that with the naps and stuff, because sometimes, like, I'm not a big napper anymore. I used to be, like, my freshman and sophomore year of college. I was working 2 jobs. I was in school full time, and at like 3 o'clock every day, I took like an hour nap before I would go into my second job, and like I needed that. But I notice now that my life is more kind of yin, I don't feel the need maybe to nap like that, but I feel like I can do a yoga nidra because I'm not quite as exhausted like as I was. But on occasion, maybe like once or twice a week, there'll be, maybe less often than that, there'll be days where I am super exhausted about 3 o'clock where I can't do the yoga nidra. I just fall asleep. I put it on and like 2 seconds later I fall asleep. And last week, I think it was last week, I put one on and I was pretty tired, but I put a yoga nidra on and then I fell asleep for an hour and a half. And the yoga nidra was over and I kept sleeping. I had no idea that it was gone. So obviously I needed to sleep. But I remember waking up like, oh my God, because in the past, like I've always talked about that conscious awareness, I always somehow miraculously just wake up. But that time I
This is TM's dog Merlin. We're not allowed dogs in the apartment, so contraband substance.
So cute.
Sorry, go ahead.
I got distracted by the dog. I think
Yeah.
that's to say. But
Merlin
yeah,
will.
it's just your energy.
Yeah.
Do it. I think that's how some people. I've done a yoga nidra once or twice before I've gone to sleep, and I haven't had any issues. But I was also pretty tired. You know, like 10:30 every night. I'm pretty tired, and I'm like out. So yeah, I think your energy before you do it and stuff, and you feel like right now when we did the yoga nidra, I wasn't really tired, so I definitely feel mentally refreshed than if I were to do it and I was really, I don't know. I think I've basically said it how I wanted to say it. Yeah. If I'm really tired, it doesn't be the same as if I'm just a little less tired than really tired.
And I also know too that you've used it as a tool to clear yourself energetically, like and I use it this way too. If I know I'm going to come and teach you guys, that I'll put on a recording and I feel like I want to clear my energy to come clean to you guys, that it can be a very useful tool that way too. So if I know I'm going to be going into, not that teaching you guys is a stressful situation, but you know, if you want your energy to be really clear when you're coming into a situation, you want to be really grounded and really clear. It's again that, like, it's like an energy shower. It's very cleansing that way. And I know, Kate, you've used it that way too before you teach as well.
Yeah. And you notice too, I've noticed like the past 2 or 3 months that I've had like a difficult, I don't know if it's something my throat chakra, it's probably out of balance, but I've had a difficult time communicating like what I want to say in some of like, and I feel like when I do the yoga nidra, I go to class and I just have a better class. I feel like I instruct better and things, and I'm more clear in instructions and things. But then when I don't know. It does clear out the energy. Really, it does. It helps a lot. But I've just noticed that in my life, not even just like teaching, but in general, I've had a hard time communicating what I want to say.
Okay, so I think there's value in, you know, to wind it back to the beginning of the talk, just that when, you know, it feels like you're going in circles and emotions feel close to the surface and the mind feels really busy, that it doesn't have to take a long time, that you can draw on these shorter practices, and it doesn't even have to be practices. And I was going to start a thread on my mat today where we can say things that we might do, like go and sit by a body of water, or, you know, things that you might do just to nourish that yin when the energy gets pulled to the surface. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the forum.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.